Here we go for Bitcoin. I wanted to start this one off with a bit of a recap of yesterday. We were looking for a bit of a bounce-ola over here on the CME chart. The old LARP lines look like they did play out, and we were looking at some interesting, some areas of interest, if you will, based off of the fibs over here, of which it looks like we hit all the way to the back end of these guys on a higher term time frame closing base. Let me just double check. Sorry, let me get rid of the one that is not relevant right now. Yeah, on the daily right there, about 31,200 or 31,300 on that closing basis. So yet again, another lower high, and the range of eternal greatness continues to trudge onwards and forwards. So what does it essentially mean? It essentially means that nothing on the higher term timeframes has actually changed right here, but with Bitcoin, putting in what actually does look to be maybe another lower high forming right here, that'd be somewhat concerning. But here's the thing, because Bitcoin has actually done this move, we can move down the resolution point for an upside reversal with upside targets into the mid $30,000 territory, basically with any sort of a closure above, I think this was basically yesterday's high. Yesterday, or, just this area right here, which is about 31.6, 31.7, anywhere into the blue box territory, probably going to be good. Again, targets would be about 33,500 bucks right around here on this blue box at the 1.272. And then we got the big old gapola from CME on May 6th and 9th coming in at the 1.618 Fibonacci extension, which is also going to be the 0.5 on the not the macro, but the last major daily trending move over here. We do see that as well, and also going to be in alignment with that daily BBWP expansive move, which does suggest about a 20% move upon resolution. To the downside though, I do think that that's just going to be theoretically more likely for a few reasons that we're going to go over here in a second, which one is going to be trend, as we do obviously have a downtrend going on right here. We have 1, 2, 3 lower highs still in the short-term timeframes. And then also we do see a couple of interesting things. So the first and foremost thing is going to be the funding rates over here on the crown trading application. This has just been hilariously accurate in getting the day's direction for, it seems like maybe 2 or 3 months since we started posting this regularly on Twitter. Yesterday, we saw very negative rates, and that was in alignment with a short-term bounce. In fact, these were some of the most negative rates that we've seen in like the last 2 months, at negative 0.021%. And right now, coming off of that last 31,000 and change high, we do see positive rates going on over here. So we can almost just throw these damn charts away and just go off of that in recent times, which is kind of funny. But at the end of the day, we still do need the charts just kind of judge where the areas of interest after that move kind of plays out. So in this case, we see that yet again. Anyways, I do want to call out a few things as well. So while the short-term time frame funding rates are positive here, which does suggest that downside likely, and we've kind of already played out at least a decent amount of portion of that move from 31.5 all the way down to below 30,000 bucks on specifically CME. Can we see more? Can we see some more from this? Well, definitely. The daily is setting up for a particularly massive move here, as we do see daily BBWP again get liftoff. I do have my reservations that this will actually be the move right here. We might get something like this where it comes back down, bases again, and then we get the real move. Sometimes we do get something like that, but until we actually do see the BBWP itself get below the moving average, I suppose that you could roll with this being the move, if you will. So here's the thing: as far as momentum oscillators go, what is most likely? Well, we did not see Bitcoin on CME close above the daily stochastic momentum pivot. That was about 31,300, I believe, coming into today. And we actually see the same pivoted level once again for today. So as long as Bitcoin is below 31,250 on a daily closing basis, again, momentum is actually going to be turning down freshly here, rejecting the bullish control zone, of course. And that alongside volatility expansion, would obviously suggest downside, and maybe even a downside I wouldn't say macro, but daily resolution. And then also we do see on the daily RSI, we did not confirm the hidden bearish divergence that needed to close below the prior daily low, which was 29.8 and change, I believe. And but we're still gonna have the same sort of setup right here for today as well. So it's not like it's gone away just yet, but it will be confirmed. Especially with another daily closure below about 30,000 bucks. I'd even say a closure below about 30,200 probably going to be good enough, at least for myself, over here on CME. And then yes, we'd have not just a slew of lower highs, but also, of course, hidden bearish divergence, plus daily stochastic momentum oscillators turning down, plus very, 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 very low BBWP, which does suggest that the move does have some legs on it. But still, in order to confirm the actual breakdown, which is going to have some pretty nasty targets to the downside, pretty much around our current lows and probably even lower than that, actually. over time as well. I'm thinking maybe like 22 to 23,000 bucks. The same criteria needs to be hit over here for downside continuation, and that would be with at minimum a medium-term time frame closing below the bottom end of this blue box, which is 28,900. Preferably, this would be a higher term time frame, seen as we are going to be looking at, you know, a rather large move, if you will, and you know, a daily certainly anywhere below this region would certainly do it for me. Again, looking at moves back down to, you know, $26,500, I'd be looking for maybe a slight bounce there on the medium term timeframes, and then we got $25,000. And personally speaking, I do think that Bitcoin would probably drop a little bit lower than that before it puts in a nice major daily bounce, as Bitcoin actually looks like it is going to hold the median of the range for the short term right now. So with all of that in mind, if we do go into the short term, is there anything specifically obvious right here? Not really, at least not for me. In this case, I'd still just be looking at the overall range, and seeing as Bitcoin's literally, like quite literally right in the middle of that range, I look at this as having absolutely no edge for myself and my actual trading strategies. So take that as you will. Again, it's the same game as far as the daily goes. And then our momentum also to start to shift around the picture, saying that, hey, this is a little more likely right here, but we haven't seen the actual resolution just yet. So I think that's a good place to kind of leave off on this video. Again, a very short video on this one, as there really hasn't been too much on the higher term timeframes that's actually changed. Just on the short term timeframes, you know, we see this one once again spit out that move, and we see the funny rates, you know, put some decently positive rates on over here. But I would say that, you know, if you're playing the funny rates, you kind of missed by now the majority of that move, obviously. So with all of that in mind, I'll take a second to shill my Instagram. I've been a lot more active there, especially during these more slow times in the market. We did a Q&A yesterday, which is pretty damn fun. In fact, there's so much participation, which was really cool, and really, like, there's actually really a lot of really good questions that I wasn't able to get to, like, even half the comments, which is unfortunate, but we'll definitely do it again. And then we got the old buy but chill link as well, which I don't need to get into, because anyone who's even trading right now, you're probably actually already on exchange. So it's all good, man. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to leave this one off. And yeah, we'll be back on tomorrow.